The 13 years of suffering of Joseph was not against him, but rather it was for him. Because that 13 years was a preparation for the destiny that he was about to enter. The 13 years was a character development, mental development, wisdom development, because on 30 years old, he would become the second most powerful man. So that means in our lives, all these problems is not a punishment, but all these problems is a preparation for a destiny. Hi, my name is Daniel and I'm a Christian content creator. And today we're gonna talk about how to face any problems as a Christian with these secret biblical principles or Christian resilience secrets. Now, giving your life to Christ, it doesn't mean that you'll be immune to all the problems. It doesn't mean that all the problems will magically fade away. But what it means is that even in all those problems, even in all those sufferings, God is still with us. Whenever problem comes, ako yung ginabot sa una, I used to complain yun. I used to murmur just like the Israelites. But 2 weeks ago, my perspective changed. As I was watching YouTube, I discovered a preacher by the name of Myron Golden. Technically, he's not a preacher, but he do Bible studies. So, as he was sharing that sa YouTube video, there was a statement that caught me off guard. And right now, akong i-reveal sa inyo. Things did not happen to you. Things happen for you. Let me repeat that. Things did not happen against you. Things happen for you. Whenever problem comes, first ko na ito mabuhat, di ba? We would murmur, we would complain, why am I suffering, Lord? Why is this happening? But instead, we should be asking different questions. And ang question dapat nato, Lord, what are you teaching me? What is your purpose behind this? And I could remember the verse, James 1 verse 2. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, when you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. So all the problems there is a preparation. So mga 2 weeks ago, again, I learned that, and you know what? After ato, a lot of problem came in our church, in the ministry, and mo maginang pinaka sa akong heart. And you know, all the problem that comes karon nga time, by God's grace, I do not complain anymore. I do not kanang ma-unmotivated dayon, no. Right now, I see it in a lens no nga Lord, it's not against me. This is for me, for my growth, Lord, for my character development. So, bisa unsa nga problem, by God's grace, no, mahimo na tang problem proof. Ano ba? I can remember the life of Joseph. So Joseph, while he was 17 years old, he was given a dream, that all his 11 brothers would bow down to him. So he received that dream. And then he told his brothers that, and all his brothers were jealous of him. Almost all of the brothers. And kaya na-jealous pa niya mga brothers sa iya. Gusto siya patyon sa mga igsuon. And then kidnap siya padung sa Egypt. And while he was in Egypt, he served Potiphar's house. And while he was in Potiphar's house, he was falsely accused nga nang-rape daw siya sa wife ni Potiphar. And when he entered the prison, he interpret a dream. And then while nakagawas itong i-interpret niya dream, gikalimtan na siya, so he was forgotten by that person. And all these things, like every happenings, it keeps getting worse and worse. But when he turned 30 years old, something happened. He was elected as the second in command in Egypt, next to the king. So he became the second most powerful man in Egypt. And at that time, Egypt was the most powerful nation in the entire planet. That means Joseph became the second most powerful man. And you know what happened? While he was in that position, God gave him a wisdom, naman tinahitabo, mga dream. that there will be a 7 years of famine and a 7 years of abundance, and after that there will be a 7 years of famine. So God gave him wisdom to employ some things, and you know what happened after that 7 years of abundance, grabbing harvest, 7 years of famine came, and the entire world was affected, and all the nations of the earth came to Egypt to buy food in Egypt. And Joseph was there. He was the brainchild. No? He had those idea, the knowledge, katong wisdom to employ atong mga butang. And if Joseph wala siya dito, then the entire world would have died. Di ba? Are you getting the point? The entire nation, the entire population, patay na siguro tanan. Who would survive 7 years of famine? Di ba? But they all survived because of Joseph. And you see, the 13 years of suffering of Joseph was not against him, but rather it was for him. Because that 13 years was a preparation for the destiny that he was about to enter. The 13 years was a character development, mental development, wisdom development, because on 30 years old, he would become the second most powerful man. So that means in our lives, all these problems is not a punishment, but all these problems is a preparation for a destiny, for what we're about to enter. Diba? It's a kanang opportunity to grow. Dili ni punishment. Your problems is not a punishment, but an opportunity to grow. All these things that happen to you, against you, all these things happen for you to grow, for you to have the necessary mindset, the necessary character to handle the future. Are you getting the point? Diba? So, right now, in my life, I understood this, and every problem, by God's grace that comes, right now, I have the different perspective. But it doesn't mean nga di na ta masakitan. Nagyapon, we would still feel those things. But behind those things, you have a new perspective, set of perspective. Wala na po yung problem. Ano yung problem na abot? Then you apply, a biblical principle, this secret resilience secret. Lord, this problem is not against me. This problem is not meant to destroy me, but this is meant to build me up. Diba? So every problem na, bisa unsa na may tabo sa imo, have this glasses on, change your perspective. So this video is a series, taas-taas naman, 10 minutes naman. Next week, we're gonna talk about second the podcast secrets. So stay tuned and subscribe.